Hill. Hope you're all well. Back with another instalment of some doubles tactics. Today we're going to look at the Australian formation. If we work on the idea that the colourful end is the serving team, and we're currently set up with the pink player being the server, and you can see it's a traditional setup. Okay, server's on the right, that player's on the left, the other two are in a normal position. We're looking at the idea that we're playing this way, but especially to the right hand side of the court, we're losing points. We often compliment a lot of our friends on what a great forehand cross court they've got. Let's see if they've got a great forehand down the line. Let's see if they can vary it. Just because someone's got one direction on the shot great doesn't mean every direction they can hit just as well. So the Australian formation came at a time when the Australian players were at the forefront of tennis. Players like Lou Hode, Ken Rosewall, Rod Laver, to name but a few. And they were dominant both at singles and doubles. And they tried a formation out. I'm sure they tried some others, but the one that stands to mind so much and got the name the Australian formation was when they adjusted these positions. So we're still serving to the juice court, the right hand side. The server would come much more central, and the net player would stand on the same half of the court as the server. Now, of course, they wouldn't stay like that. If once the server served, they just stayed, there's a great big gap down here. Okay, so once the server hit the ball, and this is one of the reasons in near the middle, the other reason it's much easier to hit a central serve, we can get the opponent's backhand, take the angles away. But as soon as the pink player hit the serve, that player, whilst the ball's travelling over to the returner, would reposition to the left-hand side. So you can see by the time this player's returning the ball, we're set up. We've still got half of the court each. The only difference is we're doing it the other way around to the traditional format. Now this is very important because this player often doesn't quite know what to do. They get a bit phased by it. And invariably, they'll do one of two main things. They'll either think, I'll hit cross court. If the yellow player's standing there, I'm going to hit it hard at them. So we've got to be ready. But if we're a good volleyer, that's what we want. We want them taking us on, because if we can get our racket on it, this player in turn is very vulnerable. The most common response is this player tends to try and keep it away from the net player, and they try and change direction. That's what we want as well. Even if we lose the point, if we've been losing beforehand, we've got nothing to lose. We've got to try some other things out, see if this player can do something different, not allow them to keep doing something we know they can already do well. So it's quite a mental game, tennis, as we know. So invariably, if this player misses the first time they go down the line, they hit it in the net or out, you'll be surprised how often another couple of points quickly fall into our lap, because players don't like change when they're winning. Okay, you've got to remember that. So we're looking to see if this player can play down the line. Okay, let's look at another advantage of this. A lot of players, most players, like the right hand side of the court. So when you and your partner are saying at the start of a match, do you want to play backhand, forehand? It's not always backhand, forehand, is it? I personally like to play on the ad court because that's where my forehand's its strongest. Okay, I like it in the in-out forehands. But I do know a lot of players favour this side because they feel they get more forehands. So let's just say the pink player likes playing on the right hand side for whatever reason. Advice: when they're serving, when the pink player's serving, if they take up the traditional setup, the pink player's on the right hand side, where he or she wants to be. What about if we serve the second point and we're serving to the ad court, so we've moved over? Well, if we do the traditional setup, of course, the pink player's now on the left hand side, the ad court. Maybe not quite so comfortable, unless we use the Australian formation. So again, central, partners in the same half of the court. As soon as the serve's been hit, the pink player is going to move over to the right. So by the time the returner's hitting the ball, we've now got the pink player on the right hand side of the court, where he or she wants to be. You can manipulate this. Okay, you can manipulate this and change it. I think what a lot of players tend to do, if they're getting beaten with the normal setup, we think our intercept. Great, it's fantastic. It's just very, very difficult. It's not easy to do. You have to really work hard at that. I honestly believe that the Australian formation, although you've advertised what you're doing, which isn't always a bad thing, it's an awful lot easier to implement than intercepting. If you can do both, even better. So use this time, okay? We've given you a few tips. There's a lot more tips or a lot more reasons why we would do the Australian. I've just named a couple of the main ones, not making the net player have to run so much, getting the baseline to start where he or she wants to play. But I think the big thing is you guys try and use this time when we're unable to get on court to think about the strategy of the game. Familiarise yourself with it. So when you walk on court, you know where to stand for the Australian formation. You're not thinking, where do I go? You know. In an ideal world, if you have a regular partner and you like the sound of this, you speak to each other, get on Zoom, talk to each other and figure out what you're going to do. Because invariably it will take, let's just say for fun's sake, it takes you 100 times doing this to get really good at it. Of course, the quicker you do the 100, the quicker you get really good at it. But if you know the strategy before, maybe it only takes you 50 goes. So, you know, it never hurts to be organised. The idea is to throw your opponents. Initially, it'll probably throw you a little bit while you're doing it until you've done enough repetition with clear strategy on how to implement it best. I hope that helps. I hope you're keeping well and look forward to seeing you soon. Take it easy.